Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Famvestor podcast. I am your host, Sunmarie Burns.
Sunmarie Burns. And I'm your host, Sunny Burns, co-host.
Tripped on my own name. Today we have a really fascinating episode that we're going to jump into. We were really excited to talk to this guest. We touched upon so many different areas of life.
It's a cool journey.
It's a cool journey, kind of goes all over the place, but we talk about funding children's Roth IRAs.
With chickens.
How to get your children to run their own businesses and what's entailed in that kind of responsibility.
And marketing that business, she does like Instagram ads and yeah.
And, just covering expenses and so forth. Then we jumped into Airbnbs and the benefits of running an Airbnb and how they have their kids help them with part of the processes there, like the cleaning processes. We talked about
flipping cars.
We talked about farming. Homeschooling. This episode just touches it all. Frugality, financial independence. It's a fun one. So we hope that you will enjoy listening to it. Go on this journey with us as we travel through this awesome story that we found to be extremely inspiring.
Yeah, it was a cool one.
Yeah. But before we get to it, a few life updates about ourselves you wanted to share.
Sure. Have we announced to the audience that we are expecting baby number 4? I think we might have actually.
I think we did.
Okay, sorry. That's coming in Thanksgiving. But yeah, no, I've had my ACL surgery, so I've been kind of bedbound a lot, still on crutches, doing better every day. But so on crutches, there's a lot of things that I've been doing, since I can't run, I can't bicycle with the kids. So I'm reading a lot to the kids. So, and, kind of trying to graduate from these picture books. We're still kind of going to the library once a week, getting a lot of picture books, but I've also been getting novels. And it's been fun. The kids get really into it. Read like 2 or 3 chapters a day, like once in the morning, once in the evening. And we went through Roald Dahl. He wrote a book called Danny and the Champion of the World. Roald Dahl was one of my favorite authors growing up. But Danny and the Champion of the World, and the kids loved it. They're like, can we read another chapter? Can we read another chapter? So that was a lot of fun. And then right now we're reading Where the Red Fern Grows. And they're loving that too. Like they constantly want to keep reading. And I'm finding it so cool to read to them these big books because they present new ideas, new things, and they're constantly asking me questions like, hey, what's an anvil? So I'll just pull out my phone and say, this is an anvil. And, there's constantly things like that. Like, what's a trap? And then, we talk about like bear traps and what it looks like. And then my son got inspired and got our bow and arrow, a little kid bow and arrow. He's been shooting that all day today because he wanted to, the bear trap led to hunting. Anyway.
Now he wants to be in archery.
Yeah, but it's cool, reading these full-size novels with the kids and, books that I enjoy and enjoy reading with them. And it's been a good experience because I feel like I get to talk to them about certain questions that come up and it leads to fascinating conversations. So just wanted to recommend that, if you have older kids, our oldest is 6, and he's definitely comprehending. The 4-year-old sits down and listens too. I feel like he gets 50% of it, but he's
enjoying it.
Yeah, he's enjoying it.
He's just maybe off in his own head a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, but he's getting some of it too. Yeah. I'm still looking forward to reading some of my like favorites, like the Harry Potter series and stuff. Somebody wants me to wait a little bit for that.
Yeah, I think they're too young.
But yeah, just a recommendation. Start with reading those novels and things like that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the show.
You're listening to the Famvestor podcast. If you're looking to raise your family with intention, gain financial independence, and live a life of true freedom, you're in the right place. Join us as we explore together how to create thriving families, because strong families are the cornerstone for a world at peace.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Famvestor podcast. Super excited today. We have Lindsay Spiegel on the show. She lives in rural West Texas on 5 acres with her husband and 2 daughters. They love to do urban farming on their property, and she grows her own food, takes care of cultivating the land. She's also an Airbnb host. She homeschools her 2 kids. They love going on hiking and adventuring as a family. And what I'm really excited to talk to her about is, she has this love of teaching her daughters to, do the side hustle and start investing. And what really caught my eye, I saw her that she, had her daughter runs a chicken business where she sells chicken eggs, and I just really wanted to dive in because she's using that to fund her daughter's Roth IRA, and I just thought that was so cool. So Lindsay, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and I think, we've had a lot of Roth IRA stories, but it's always like lemonade stands, baby modeling, going on advertisements. Our kids roll quarters, but your daughter has like a true business, which I thought was so awesome, and especially like around like farming. And I just really wanted to dive into that story. So maybe let's just start there. Like, how did that all start? This chicken idea and just selling it and then starting a Roth IRA that way.
Yeah, so we didn't always live out in the country. We lived in the city, and our dream was to always own land and grow our own food, have our own animals. And so I had an urban farm, and I did market gardening where we used to live, and really just put my heart and soul into that. And so the girls kind of saw that, and we had chickens there at the farm. And she always had said that she wants to have an egg business when we get our own land. And so we bought this house, which was a foreclosure on 5 acres. And we said, okay, we'll start you off. We're going to buy you your 25 chicks. We're going to pay the feed to get them to laying age. But once they hit that laying age, it's yours. And you're going to have to start paying for the feed. It's your responsibility. And so we made sure the coop was great. We made sure that, the chicks were going to be safe. And we just embarked in that journey.
How old was she at that point? And was this like her want? Like she really wanted to do this, or you were kind of guiding her?
I mean, she was 8 years old. I think because we've always had side hustles. Mm-hmm. We've always been that frugal family. We've always been the Dave Ramsey people. Mm-hmm. No debt. We've never owned a new car. Just looking for sales, like what's free, that kind of thing. And so I think because of that mindset, she's just kind of always expect, no handouts. If she wants something, she needs to earn her money for it. We don't give an allowance.
Nice.
I don't believe that just because she has a heartbeat, she deserves money. But, like we provide for her needs and her wants. We love our kids. We love to spoil them. But at the end of the day, there's power in earning your own money and spending it.
Wow.
So that's kind of what happened and how that kind of unfolded.
And she's 11 now, right? You said your oldest is 11 years old. So that's been 3 years running this business?
Yes. Yeah. And so we have my other daughter, she's 9 right now. She's recently started in where she'll buy young chicks and then brood them out. Brood is like farm term for raise the babies.
Okay.
And then get them to laying age and then sell them as laying hens.
Wow.
And so she's profiting about $15 a chick.
Wow.
And she's running about 30 chicks per batch. So she's making pretty good money on that. And she usually does that about twice a year.
Wow.
So she has her deal and Esther has her eggs. Yeah.
That's really cool. And I think I was like digging through some of your forum posts, and it seemed like you really wanted your daughter to take full ownership over this business. Sure, you started them out, you got them ready with their coop and stuff, but it seemed like, if she was running out of funds, she really needed to find a way to get enough feed to get them through winter and stuff like that. Can you talk to that a little more?
Yeah. So, okay, like with chickens, it's not once you get a chicken, they're laying full 12 months out of the year every single day. And there's different breeds that are going to be giving you different production amounts. So the Leghorns, they're going to be really strong producers and you're going to get an egg a day. And then there's the black copper Morans that have the dark, really pretty eggs, and they don't lay as much. I don't know what the number is on it, but their production rate is a lot lower. And then as the hen gets older, it's going to be laying less. And so we had always thought you get your chickens and then at year 2, you sell your chickens as laying hens and still make good profit on it. And then have new chicks each year replenishing your flock. That's kind of what we had suggested to her. But then your chickens get names and they have personalities and you like them and you, they're your favorite chicken, and then you have one of your hens that like gets a broken leg and then you nurse it back to health. You just become so attached to these things, and you don't want to get rid of your chickens. And that's what happened last winter or last year at the end of summer. Her chickens were starting to slow down because we were at the 2-year mark. And so we had mentioned to her, it's time to sell these. No, and she really struggled through the winter because her egg production was down and her funds were really low. She had about $100 emergency fund, but it was going quickly. The previous winter, she was breaking even for those months during the winter, which not a big deal. You have 7 good months of like milk and honey, and then the winter comes and it slows down. And so she was on the struggle bus. And of course, as a parent, I'm not going to let her fail. But as a parent, she needs to learn these. She needs to learn this. I can't just fork out money for freeloader hens. Right. You serve your purpose or you're gone. And so she had one customer, bless his heart, he's an older man. He gave her $20 as a bailout, like at the end of the winter. And it cracked me up. But yeah, so she made it through the winter, and she had some newer hens that she had bought, or chicks that she had bought and brooded out over the winter that were ready to go. They were going to start laying March. And then tragedy struck. We have a trail around our property, and I was out for a run. I love to run it. And I was running around, and I came up on the coop, and there was just dead chickens everywhere.
Ooh. Oh no.
And I was like, okay, maybe it's just like 1 or 2, and sure enough, like I come into the coop, it's completely just everywhere. So in total, there was about 26 hens that had been killed. And we had cameras, so I was able to go back and look. And the girls, thankfully, they didn't see, they weren't out there with me. They were inside the house. We were gone when this all happened. So I saw the footage. We knew whose dog it was.
Oh, it was dog.
Yeah, we had issues with this dog before, but it had just been like 1 chicken, 2 chickens, like not really a huge deal, and we had tried to get it off by other, different means. But you have to be right there at the right time. And we just weren't there at the right time. We had gone to try to talk to him, but everyone on that street, this is like a mile away. Everyone on that street's just saying he doesn't care. He doesn't care. That's his house. And so we went over to his house. He has a fence everywhere. It's just not very welcoming. And so we just kind of, move on.
He's got a fence, but it's not good enough to keep the dog in.
It's not. And it was not welcoming to us. We were kind of like, we're not wanted. And then this happened, and I was like, we've got to do something. And there isn't a stray dog ordinance in our community. And so I called the sheriff to kind of just ask. And I had talked to a friend that was a lawyer, and she said that we do have, Esther has a case in small claims court because this is her livelihood. This is her income that has been, so I talked to Esther, like, what do we need to do? She's like, that dog just needs to, go away. They need to get rid of the dog constantly. Get rid of the dog, get rid of the dog. I'm like, okay, well, it's not my dog. We'll just have to see what the sheriff says. So the sheriff went and talked to them and kind of brought up the situation to it. And then this elderly man came over, just so apologetic. He didn't know. He's so sorry. And he compensated Esther per chicken. It was around $650. But to be honest with you, that wasn't enough because of the lost egg production that she lost out on that income. She lost probably about $1,000 in egg income off of these new layers. So, it was kind of a bummer, but through that, she has said, Mom, this was kind of a blessing because I needed to get rid of those chickens. And even though some of my new layers got killed off, I can start over. And so she had 10 chickens left, and then she has built her flock. And so right now she has about 50 chickens, and they're just now coming into laying, which is kind of not a good time because they're slowing down for the winter, but it is what it is, Wow.
What a journey for her. And So she didn't actually have to end up going to small claims court. I was going to say, whoa.
No. Yeah,
that would be one brave little girl right there.
I know. And I don't know if she would have done it. She just told the man that she really wanted him to get rid of his dog because he couldn't keep it under control. And she told him, like, this is your dog. You need to keep it in your yard and you can't. And he agreed. I guess someone had dumped the dog and then he was taking care of it, but they got rid of it. We've since then really locked up. We have some infrastructure back there to where we can open it up. So they're not completely free range, but they are free range still. Right. But so they can still get out if they really wanted to fly over the fence, but they can fly back in. So if there's a dog and the dog's not gonna be able to get in. And we haven't had any issues with predators since then. And they're really happy back there. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good situation.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, through these kind of like hardships, you learn a lot about your business and perhaps like weak points and things that need to be shored up in the plan, you know. Yeah. So I think that it's a valuable lesson to learn. A hard one, but I'm sure she grew a lot from it and has improved her processes.
Right. No, I love that story, you know, and also just like the life lessons, like getting your kids involved in these kind of projects so early on, and especially these entrepreneurial endeavors. There's always these lessons that come up, you know. You're talking about, you mentioned emergency funds, and you're learning that at the age of like 8 years old or something. That's so cool. You know, we did a lemonade stand with our kids this past summer, and they were selling like hotcakes, and they ran out of cups. I'm like, so what do you guys want to do? Close shop or go back to Walmart and buy some more cups? And like, I don't want to spend more money, but then it's like, you'll make more money if you buy those cups. And they're like, okay, and then they go do it. And at the very end of the day, you know, my eldest son, who's 6, and my younger, who's 4, was like, well, so I get to keep all the money. He's like, no, you had a partner, so you gotta split everything 50-50. He's like, what? I have to split it? So it's like all these lessons just come out, you know, every day doing. And she must like be so invested in this business because it's, you know, it's what she's doing every day, investing, and have a tragedy like that happen. Sure, it hurts so much, but I feel like, so much powerful lessons there, and that's just so awesome that you're doing that with them. Yeah,
I think starting from the get-go, the biggest hurdle for her was that we're not from around this area. We're new to the community, so people don't know us, and because we live out in the country, a lot of people have chickens already, and so they don't need eggs.
Oh, okay.
And so whereas in the city, we could sell eggs for $5 a dozen, here in the country, we're selling for like $3 a dozen. So she already had some really neat chickens that were laying different colored eggs. So her egg carton has dark brown and white and cream, brown, blue, green, just this beautiful color. And so to set herself apart, she got clear cartons, and those are expensive. And then she bought these stamps that she stamps on each egg.
Oh, cool.
And they're different, each like a mustache, or like a saying that says, "You crack me up," or, you know, like the yolk's on you, you know, just really funny kind of pun things. So she hand stamps all of her eggs and has a business card that she puts in there. And so she really has set her product apart.
Oh, cool.
And she's marketing to more of like a higher end client.
Yeah.
But she loves it, you know. And then she has an Instagram that she posts on. She does chicken of the day posts, and she does fried egg Fridays, which she hasn't done since. It's hard because she marketed so well and had such a following that when tragedy struck and she wasn't able to provide eggs for these customers, it was hard on her, you know? And so she hasn't been posting as much because she doesn't have her product. But the Fried Egg Friday videos were awesome because she would come up with a meal, or like a egg meal, and then cook it on video and post it.
Wow.
So of course, with tons of parental supervision on that aspect, but it was just another way for us to incorporate our homeschooling journey in with her business.
What's her Instagram handle?
Chicken Boss Esther.
That's so cool. Yeah. So just like learning all those different aspects of, you know, marketing and differentiating your product. I think that's so awesome.
So how did she go out and find her clients? I'm curious. Did she go door to door locally, farm
Roadside
markets? I'm curious.
We did have a sign out, but we had to take it down because she had such a huge following.
Oh, wow.
That people just had their weekly orders. And even still, so, I mean, whenever we go to church, it's like, Olivia, she wants 3 dozen a week. And then there's these, other people, a dozen a week. She has one guy that just gets 6 eggs a week. So that's kind of how she built it up. And I think when her production starts coming back into full force, that's probably how she'll do it again. The Instagram was a huge help. Her first customer, her name was Mary, and she's a nutrition coach. And so she is really strong on nutrient dense food and knowing where your food comes from. And so that's Esther. I mean, you want to know where your food comes from? We can show you a picture of the chicken laying the egg,
Yeah.
But Mary has clients, and the clients started buying from Esther. So a lot of those people, a lot of her clients, or Esther's clients, came from Mary's clients.
Wow. Very cool. Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth.
That's so fascinating.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about your other daughter? Is she kind of taking a similar marketing avenue, or is it a smaller market there where you just advertise in the marketplace? Hey, I have some eggs, some hens available.
Yeah, it's hard with Facebook because they don't allow you to sell animals.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually up for discussion. You have chickens up for discussion, and you can message me for information. So there's like local chicken groups, I'm sure, in any area of the country, and you can just join them on Facebook and then post that way. We've done on Craigslist. They sell really fast, which surprises me because as a frugal person, I feel like $25 for a chicken is outrageous. but I do see the energy and the effort, time and money that goes into brooding them out into laying age. And so I do see the value. There's a lot of people who don't have the infrastructure to do that. We do. And so that's something that Anna is marketing on. And so she takes a lot of pride in having good breeds.
Yeah.
So people really like the Easter eggers. They lay the different colored eggs. And so she wants the cool chicken. And she does really, really well with it, but it's hard because her initial, and same thing with her, like we do not pay for her feed when she's raising these chickens out. And so she's dropping like $100 on her chicks to purchase them. And then she's paying out over the next 4 or 5 months, $200. And then when payday comes, she's making $600, in a hot second. But it's hard because it's like, I don't have any money, Mom. Yeah. It's like, just wait. And she does competition tumbling, power tumbling. And so a lot of her fees are paid for by her chicken. And that's kind of our way to give her ownership with the tumbling.
Tumbling like, as in gymnastics tumbling?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is power tumbling? I don't even know.
It's just flipping. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it.
Floor events.
Yeah, it's like floor tumbling. They do back tucks and
that's cool.
Whips and stuff.
So she likes to do a lot of the competitions, but they have entry fees, I guess.
Yeah, and then the competition Leos are expensive, and the jackets and backpacks. So
and she pays
helps
for it
out.
All.
And she pays for it. Yeah.
Wow.
We pay her monthly tuition, but she's going to pay for, there was a new leotard that they were going to buy. And I said, okay, it's $45. Do you want it? And she's like thinking about it. She's like, yeah, I want to buy it. It's like, okay, there you go.
Awesome.
Wow.
But yeah.
And she's only 9.
Yeah, she's 9.
Awesome.
And so she also helps clean our Airbnb, which I'm sitting in our Airbnb.
Oh, cool.
It's on our property. Which kind of was we stumbled on it. We wanted it for family and friends when they would come visit. But the ironic thing is that it's been full 97% of the time. Like we're vacant right now. Yes, it's vacant right now, which is so weird because I've been so full.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she helps clean it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I pay her each time. Sometimes she's helpful, sometimes she's not as helpful. But it's a way for her to have that earned income for her to put into her Roth IRA.
So she's working as a cleaner and she's earning her, I guess, wage that way versus the chicken business, which is more profit based off of your product. So 2 different ways of earning income and comparing, one is a little more stable, but not as much growth possibility there.
Yes.
But that's good.
And I think that's something really important to note, though, with the Roth IRA is that, so if Anna's making $600 total and she only wants to put $300 of her own money in, I can put up to $600 into it
as the
of
parent,
my money. Yeah. What's maxing you out or what's kind of restricting you is their income, because it has to be, the earned income or up to $6,000, whatever's lower. So we set aside money to do that. I mean, I would love to be able to like financially 100%, match that. But because now, I mean, you just think of it like a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old, they have Roth IRAs.
Yeah.
Like what? Like that's so cool.
It is.
And it's not, we still put money into their 529s, but I feel like the Roth IRA is such a better tool because what if Esther doesn't want to go to college?
Right.
I think Anna will, but what if Esther doesn't?
Especially with all these entrepreneurial skills she's learning, she might just want to launch a business. Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, because she kind of asked like, am I going to be on the podcast, Mom? And I was like, I never even thought about asking you.
She could hop on.
What would you say? But yeah, like I think she's a thinker.
Yeah.
And I don't know if college was some of the best days of my life, but it might not be for her. Right. And so that's okay. I mean, she can use her Roth IRA. I think there are some educational expenses that qualify for using it. I'm not sure on those, but I know that you can use $10,000 of earnings, even not money that you'd put in. You can use that for a house, a home.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
there's a lot more flexibility with it that allows you, to not be stuck with just, paying for school expenses. And if you don't go to school, then what do you do with it?
Yeah, penalty on all that earnings and Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's so cool.
Yeah, we love it for the same reason for our kids because, like you said, I'm not sure they're all cut out for college. I'm not even sure college is going to be worth it by the time they're old enough to be going there. There may be much more intelligent avenues to be taking. You never know, or even just interest-based, perhaps they don't want to go. So it's good to have something that gives them that flexibility of choice for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about like, do they keep their own profits and you just, you pay into their Roths based on what they earn? Because I know a lot of parents do that. They'll make $1,000, but the kids want to keep that money as spending money, and the parents are like, okay, well you earned, and we'll just match you and put the $1,000 in your Roth IRA, so you have it. But that's cool. So how are they enticed to
contribute their own earnings?
Yeah, contribute their own earnings.
Yeah, I guess we're really old school with like the Dave Ramsey idea of just having envelopes.
Okay.
And Anna's a little bit different because she gets like such a huge amount of money that comes in, and she has purchases with tumbling. So we use a budget app. We use the Good budget app on our phone. So it's kind of like you need a budget kind of thing. And Anna actually has an envelope and she knows where it is. So she can know how much she has. And then they have Ally savings account, savings checking account, so that they can get Venmo money when they are receiving payments. That kind of was pushed from
At
COVID.
8 years old, she has a Venmo account, huh?
Yeah. Well, PayPal.
Okay.
But the problem with PayPal is you're supposed to be 18 years old.
Okay.
And you are supposed to verify your age, but Esther has never verified her age.
Okay.
And so, I mean, she can get shut down tomorrow. And if she does, it's fine. It's just I didn't want it linked to my bank account.
Right.
I don't want any red flags with that. Like, keep her money separate. So they have Ally checking and saving accounts.
And you get like 2% interest on the Ally? I guess it's a lot lower now, right?
I think it's lower. Yeah, it's super low.
Well, like 3 years ago, it was like 2%. Probably now it's like
it was
0.5%.
awesome. I'm like, no. We sit down with them and ask them kind of what they want to spend their money on. So like, is there anything you've been wanting? And Anna, she always wants something. There's always something. Esther's a little bit more thoughtful about it, and her want usually stays the same over a longer period of time. Anna's just changes every day. I mean, now she wants a hoverboard, but tomorrow it might be something else. You never know. Yeah. So Esther, you can usually tell if she's saving up for alcohol-based markers, which is like they're cool markers to draw with. You'll hear about it for a while and she'll talk about it. And then when it comes time for us, we usually go through her money maybe every 3 weeks. We'll just sit down and be like, okay, this is how much you need to put in your feed. You know, how much is your emergency fund for over the winter looking like? And I think right now she's like $350 in her winter feed fund,
Wow, nice.
which is perfect. She's going to be fine this winter. And then, you know, like, how much are you going to give? Is there anything you want to save for? And then the Roth IRA question. And so usually at the end of the year, what's been happening, we just like look at it and see financially if we can match it, you know, or like build it up to that, how much she's made. And these kids are falling way under the income limit. You know, they're
12,000 or whatever a year.
Yeah. I don't know I think it's like 12,550 this year. Or, I don't know. But yeah, they're way under it. And so, yeah.
So they never file tax returns, right?
No. And I think I'm wondering, well, that's like a whole nother thing, like with the Airbnb, like do I need to be giving her a 1099 or something like that for cleaning? But
I don't think you have to. From everything I've researched, you don't have to. And I did, like, when we first started, like, we did a Roth IRA for my son when he was 0. So I was like, I want to be completely safe. I'm going to 1099 misc him. I'm going to make him do a tax return. My CPA is like, you don't have to do this, but if you want to, you can. And we did it for him the first year. But, you know, every year after, I just was like, nah, we don't want to do it. And we just keep records, like, this is how many hours he worked, and this is, you know, we paid him, like, I think that first year we were selling pacifiers on Amazon. We used his photo with a pacifier, and he got royalties from that. But anyway, we have such a big paper trail. You know, like, I write up invoices for the Airbnb, and Anna has such advertisements online, right. Esther, you know, her egg profile kind of thing. So I'm not really concerned about any of that. We're doing everything by the book as much as we know. And we do it all of ourselves. So it's through Fidelity. Okay.
My husband handles all of that. And he talks to them about kind of like different index funds that they want to invest in. And
so you don't do the S&P 500 or the total market. They're actually investing in specific mutual funds.
Yes, a lot of it is in what FZ rocks. So like it's the total market kind of thing. Or like VTSAX, that's the Vanguard equivalent.
Yeah.
But then also to just asking them like, okay, what are you interested in?
Yeah.
My husband's really into cryptocurrency.
Okay.
And so the girls have some cryptocurrency in a wallet.
Cool.
We put money into that, and then also asking them. Esther's a little bit apprehensive about the cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Anna's a little bit more for it. So it's just kind of just talking to them about it. And we're pretty open about money with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, can we go get bubble tea? It's like, well, let's look at the budget, you know, look at the app and see if we got money in entertainment rec and see if we can go do that.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I mean, this is topics that a lot of adults don't know anything about. And here you have a 9-year-old and 11-year-old who already know something about cryptocurrency or making decisions whether they think it's a secure enough investment for their money, you know, and where they want to put their money in the stock market. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
And I don't think that wasn't always the case for us. I mean, I grew up in the Silicon Valley in California. We never talked about money. You know, it was never an issue. Ben grew up as a missionary kid on Guam in the Micronesian islands. And so money was always kind of a hot topic for them. And as far as like budgeting. And then when we got married and Ben was like, we're going to be on a budget. I was like, a what? But I really loved it. I was excited about it. I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
So I like having goals and rules and parameters. And so that's what we had. And so, like I said, like the Dave Ramsey bus, we got on it and we were like the poster children. But I think that's kind of where that was kind of a downfall too, because we got an ELP, the endorsed local provider, for the financial, he's like a financial advisor.
Okay.
And they were handling all of our money. Like the Dave Ramsey ELP, I think was with RBC at the time. And so they're handling all of our money. and investing it. And then they're taking, their percentages or whatever. And it was just really hands off. So we were saving and we were investing the bare minimum of what Dave told us that we needed to. And then we were just blowing the rest of the money. And it wasn't till, recently within the last 5 years that we were kind of like, wait a second. We have got to be saving more, and we're already frugal. We've got our side hustles, we've got our sources of income coming in. We really need to be better with our money and telling it where it needs to go. And we can do our own investing through, have our own Fidelity account. And that's kind of what sparked just the idea of with the girls in their Roth IRAs. It's like, wait a second, earned income, they can do this. And then Ben just handles it all.
That's cool. I'm surprised that a Dave Ramsey person recommends going to someone who's going to take fees from you. Because isn't he all about like no fee, low cost mutual funds?
Yeah, it's just the endorsed local provider. And so it's the financial advisor, but they take their royalties. They take a percentage of it and stuff like that. So
it's their livelihood.
Yeah, it's their livelihood, which I understand. But we were looking at some of the return on investment for some of our account, or our funds, and it was like,
not
what?
Great.
Like, no, we can do better than this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're doing better now.
Yeah. Man, I was looking at my funds like just a week ago, and I was like 28% return this year. I'm like, that's insane. And I'm just like in like the total market fund, so it's not like I'm doing anything special. But I was like 28% return in 1 year. That's insane. But anyway, so that's kind of cool for us investors out there.
Yeah.
So, we've been talking a lot about the girls' business and how they've run a business. And I know you said you homeschool them as well. I'm curious to know how you link this with their schooling and education, this real life application of, business strategies, math, all sorts of different skills, even just like language skills, interacting with customers,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about their homeschooling journey and how you like to craft their day and their time and make it applicable.
Yeah. So this is our 7th year homeschooling, and I never thought I'd be a homeschool mom. We just always thought we would take it 1 year at a time. And here we are, and I have a 6th grader. So homeschooling is so much fun. I think more so for me because I just get to watch my kids learn and the lights go off. And I don't like pinpoint it and say like, okay, this is your homeschool. You're doing a Fried Egg Friday video. That's not the way I present it, but it's like, okay, let's, maybe you should put a Fried Egg Friday video out. It's Friday. Do you need me to help you video? What do you need for this? What do you need for your Fried Egg Friday video this week? And then her telling me, and then it's like, okay, what's your budget on that? And then when she does posts for her chicken of the day or just updates on her chicken, checking the grammar. Are you communicating what you want to communicate? That's stuff so like cool. That. Our school day starts with going out to the chicken coop. And I don't think the girls would be like, oh, the school day starts when we sit down at the table. But in reality, it doesn't. It starts when we go out to the chicken coop. And we're just taking a walk out there and just talking about the day and enjoying the gardens. Do you need food, water, that kind of thing? Is everybody look healthy? And so Esther keeps track of her feed when she refills the feed bucket, like opens a new bag. She keeps track of it. She's experimented with different percentages of protein, and different brands. So Tractor Supply, do y'all have Tractor Supply up there?
We do.
Tractor Supply, it's great. So she's bought just the Producer's Pride from Tractor Supply, which is like $12 a bag, and it's 16% protein. And so is she going to get the same quality of eggs out of that versus a high pro feed with 20% protein? Just kind of experimenting with that. And we kind of encourage her to do that. Because she probably would just buy feed, and maybe the cheapest feed, because it means more money in her pocket. She doesn't like to buy lots of bags at once, and it stresses me out because I don't want to be going to the feed store every week. So I tell her, I'm like, you need to drop $80 today and buy your 5 bags of feed. And so she's gotten more, because I told her, I'm like, I'm going to charge you a fuel surge charge because I don't want to go to the feed store.
Good idea.
But she, we're doing this higher percentage feed now, and she's checking, egg production, egg quality, and making note of that. And at the end of the day, it's going to be her decision what we do if we continue on with the higher protein feed that's a little bit more expensive but offers a better product. She was fermenting feed for a while, and that's really good for the chicken's guts. Even for us, like, it's just really good for you to eat fermented foods. And so trying that, seeing how it works, it's a lot of work. There's less waste. Do they eat less? Do they eat more? I don't know. She tracks it. There's so many variables.
Wow. It's like a whole science behind it.
Yeah, it's huge.
And
even you get like a chicken that's sick, and it's like, well, why is your chicken sick? What do we need to do to vaccinate your chickens, or to vaccinate them? I don't know. Just different questions. Or if you have a chicken with a broken leg, do you put it out of its misery? Or do you nurse it back to health? So lots of really hard questions to go over and things to kind of push through with them.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
And do the kids, like, I know your daughter started at 6, I think you said, with the chickens. Did she clean the coops and do all that? Do you help her with that? How does that work?
Okay. So this is she probably should help more. I have some vested interest in the coop because the poop I like for my garden.
Oh, okay.
I love to compost.
Yeah.
And so I use a lot of the coop. So what happens is we take all the bedding under the coop and we put it into a pile in the coop run, and then the chickens process through that, and then we put food scraps in there and they process through it, and then we take it and we put it in a pile outside of the coop, and then we keep rotating these piles, and then I have a beautiful product when it's done, for my garden. And so she doesn't help too much with it, but a lot of that is just kind of my husband and my stress reliever. My husband had a really hard week a couple weeks ago at work, and he came home and he was like, let's go turn the compost pile. And it's like, okay. So I feel like if we wanted her to get involved in that more, we could, but we use it.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, yeah.
How interesting. Very cool. Do your daughters have 2 separate coops for their chickens, or they share a coop?
They share a coop. So the brooder, or like, the chick house, is in one of our shops, and it's in a kind of like a plastic tarp garage within the shop, just to keep the dust down. And because the dust will get everywhere. And so we have 2 brooders in there, and each of them can fit 30 chickens each. And so usually Anna takes one, and then Esther takes the other, and then we incorporate them out into the coop. And then we mark all of Anna's chickens with leg bands, usually like zip ties around the legs, just so we know whose chickens are whose.
Interesting.
And then that way when they come, because they go outside probably around 8 weeks. And then when they hit that 18-week mark, when we're ready to sell them, then we know whose are who, and then we're able to separate them.
Interesting.
So cool.
Yeah. And they help with that, like all moving the chickens, taking care of them in the brooder. They have to clean it out, change the water, check for eye boogers, poopy butt. I know that's kind of gross, but like it's just part of chicken life.
Yeah.
And so they have to check on the chicks, or some of them will die.
And you guys just have hens, right? You don't breed the chickens, you order the eggs to...
Yeah, a lot of that is just to make sure that we're getting hens.
Okay.
So she has hatched some out under a broody chicken. So you never know when the chickens are going to go broody and want to sit on an egg. It just kind of happens randomly. There's some breeds that are more broody than not. But she had a broody chicken and she wanted to put some eggs under it. And so we got some fertile eggs from someone, because at that time we did not have a rooster. And we put the eggs under her, and then she hatched out 2 chicks, which was such a cool experience. Like, I'm thankful for that. Yeah, I mean, it's just like school in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
To watch these chickens hatch out But we mostly buy them. We buy it from Ideal Hatchery, which is out. It's in Plano, Texas, and you just know what you're getting. You're getting a quality product. They're $3.50 to $8 per chick, so it's a little pricey, but you're getting a hen, and you're not having to deal with the roosters.
Interesting.
Wow. And they just mail them to you, or you pick them up?
They mail them to you.
Wow.
It is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
You get a call about 6 a.m. and we all load up in the car and we go. It's like a really exciting day when the chicks come.
That's so cool.
Do your daughters do any other businesses and side hustles on the side, or chickens are mainly their source?
Chickens and Airbnb. I think the really neat thing about the income aspect of my children having incomes is that they're always looking for ways to make money. So Esther was rollerblading in one of our shops last night, and she was like, these rollerblades are getting a little small. I think I'm going to sell them so I can buy new ones. And I'm just like, I love this. So yeah, but the Airbnb, Anna helping clean the Airbnb, that's the other one.
Awesome.
That's so cool. And I'm curious, I do want to dig into the Airbnb a little bit. I know you guys bought a foreclosure, and you have 5 acres of property. Is the Airbnb attached to your living structure, or is it a separate off-site building?
Okay, so we have a 3,500 square foot shop, and attached to that shop is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath kind of like studio.
Oh, cool.
And it's just like a hotel room, comparable to a hotel room. And so, we are living the house hack term like 100%, because this Airbnb has paid my mortgage and utilities 100% for the last, ever since its conception.
Wow.
So at first I was really nervous about it, because it's not, our backyard is just like we have a fenced in metal backyard. It's not too far from here, but they have their own drive, their own entry. And we get really quality people, a lot of wind farm workers, solar farm, travel nurses, long-term guests. It's not uncommon for me to have someone here for 6 months.
Wow. Does it have a kitchenette?
No. Well, it has like a microwave, mini fridge, a Keurig. It's a hotel room, you know?
Wow. And people still stay for the long-term rentals. Very cool.
I think a lot of times the people who are working here, the nurses especially, they don't want to cook.
Yeah.
They're working long days, and then they want to go home on the weekends. So they go home on the weekends and then they come back.
Yeah.
So it's really an ideal setup. We've thought about adding a kitchenette, but at first I was asking like $100 a night for my unit. I can't ask. I don't know. I felt like I was just it wasn't going to be an improvement to add a kitchenette.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, ask more for it.
It wouldn't make sense financially to do that.
No.
Yeah, I remember you saying you were getting like 97% like occupancy rates or something crazy high. And you were saying like you were thinking you guys built this with the idea like, oh, okay, maybe we'll Airbnb, or maybe we'll just have it as a guest room when family or friends come over. And we had any. Yeah, we had that same idea. We're like, we're gonna build this space because it's like a storage room right now. We're gonna build it, and maybe we'll use it as Airbnb, or maybe we'll just use it as our own private like yoga studio or something, do yoga ourselves or work out, or family
always have
room.
it if there's family or friends traveling.
And as soon as we listed, it was just like day after day after day. Book.
It was never empty.
Yeah.
We didn't get to enjoy the space.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so that's so cool.
I like
you experienced that too.
Yeah, I like it when it's empty because I get to enjoy it. It's really quiet and comfy up here.
Yeah.
But I do like when it's full because it's so fun to get that money each month.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's pretty hands off from our experience.
Do you greet your guests, or you make it as seamless or as
hands
automated as possible?
Yeah, I think my super short term guests, I don't greet them unless they want to, and I usually don't even see them. Because they have their own separate drive, and it's
digital
kind of
keypad access and stuff.
Yeah, there's a keypad. They're good to go. My long-term guests, I usually sometimes I'm going to run into them. I like to meet them, especially if they're going to be here for a while. So my last guest, she was a travel nurse. She was here for 3 months. I don't want to say they become family. You see them every day.
But have you heard of FurnishedFinder.com?
I have, but I haven't like looked much into it because I've been full.
And there's
'Cause you
no
haven't
need,
needed
right?
it.
But sometimes it's nice
Yeah.
to have those like 6-month stays and not have to worry about turnovers and stuff. So like
Yeah.
I'd say our average is 6 months. We have one unit in the area that doesn't allow Airbnbs or anything under 30 days. So we do just it's a furnished rental and travel nurses use it and a 30-day minimum. But we've been booked. We
have
have
a
to like say,
vacancy.
give us 3 days so we can clean the place before you move
Yeah.
in. Like it's been
So
back
that's
to back.
through Furnished Finder?
Yeah, and I think it's $100 a year to list with them.
Okay.
But it's been so worth it for us, at least. I mean, I don't know if you really need it, but just a suggestion.
Yeah.
What I like about it is the clientele that you're
All
getting
working nurses, yeah.
Yes.
versus someone who might just be desperate for housing and therefore reaches out to you through Airbnb. This, at least they're employed and they're here for a reason. So I have been more comfortable with it for the long-term stay. But our other Airbnb is short-term, and usually our guests stay like 3 days to 2 weeks, max. And that's more
that
hotel
your-
style.
That's our
Your
Japanese style one.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, and
That's
we get
really
all these, like, we have a little guest book, then people write in it, like maybe every third guest writes in the guest book, and they're like, we get comments like, oh, the bidet was life-changing, and it's so cool to read those comments and just...
I love it.
Yeah, see, like...
Or like, I feel like I went to Japan, now I don't need to go there.
Yeah. So that's really cool to create a space that people really enjoy and, get fulfilled from. Guys, I don't know, what does your husband even do?
Okay, so my husband is a foreman for an oil field construction company. He plays in the dirt all day with heavy equipment. He really likes his job. And I think that was when we were introduced, my optometrist introduced me to the FIRE movement, or the Choose FI, my optometrist did, because I was talking to him and we were talking about frugal stuff, and we just got back from Mexico and I was telling him the deal that I got and how we fly Spirit Airlines and we just do it on the cheap. Like, we can do Cancun for $1,200 for all four of us for a week. And so I was talking to him about that, and he was like, have you heard of the Choose FI podcast? And I was like, no. And so he's the one who introduced us to it. And I was talking to my husband, and he's like, I don't want to retire early. And I think that's true of him. Like, I don't ever see him not working, but we're always going to have these different streams of income. And it'll be nice one day when he could quit his full-time job.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get there. He likes to flip cars. So he'll buy cheap cars, and then he'll turn around and flip them and make pretty good profit. And then the Airbnb, he's constantly buying and selling stuff. And then he likes to play with stocks and crypto. And
where does he buy his cars from? I used to flip cars myself, so I'm interested.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
We live in an oil community, lots of oil and gas where we're at. We're in the Permian Basin. And so there's a really big ebb and flow of when it's booming, and when it busts, it busts. And the bottom falls out, and people don't really know how to live within their means here. So it's just paycheck to paycheck people. And, when the oil is good, they're buying these brand new cars.
And then they got to get rid of them at some point.
Bad, they got to get rid of them. And guess what? We've got cash.
Nice.
And so usually towards the end of the month, we found when we lived in our other city, you'd find them come up. And I think one of his best finds was a Pathfinder, and it had gotten in a wreck. Just the side door had crunched in, but it ran perfect. It had some TPMS lights on and a check engine light, but he's got the scanners and stuff. He knew exactly what was wrong with it. So we go and we look at it, and I think the guy was asking like $1,500. It's like, well, that's perfect amount to pay your mortgage, right? And so Ben offered him $1,000, and he took it. And so he bought that, and then I drove it for a little while. And I was like, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
So then I just kept it. He just bought a brand new door on eBay.
Yeah.
The same color,
Yeah.
Fixed what needed to be fixed. I think it was under $500 in fixes. And then that was that. And then we were driving home probably like 6 months later, and we hit a big deer.
Ooh.
And it totaled the car.
Oh, no.
And so insurance wrote us a check for, I think, like $6,200.
For your $1,500
I was like, well, that was a good
purchase.
flip.
Wow.
$1,000 purchase.
Yeah.
An unintentional flip.
Yeah. And then some of the stuff, like we have a little Mazda pickup in the garage right now. And it needs a new transmission, which I think we might go to a pull apart this weekend and pull a transmission.
Wow.
Super fun, right?
Yeah.
To some.
So, but yes, right now the used cars they're really hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're really, really hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and then Dallas Fort Worth is a really good place to buy used cars.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, I feel like it's just hard for people to buy anything these days, or used cars, new cars. It's just the market's crazy. So I was wondering if he was still doing it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Lindsay, I'm curious about your backstory because you were mentioning how you didn't always live in the countryside. You lived in the city in Silicon Valley, but you had this dream of going into farming. You were into urban farming at the time and market gardening. So I guess you must have been honing your skills even while you were in the city setting. How did you find that passion? What did it look like when you were in the city? And then how did you transfer that once you moved into your 5-acre property in the country?
Yeah, so we've always had a garden as long as we've been married. And I've always just like growing my own food. I feel like there's something about getting your hands dirty and knowing where your food comes from. And I love food. I'm such a foodie. Whenever we travel, it's like, where are we going to eat? And so I just love that aspect of it. And so I met up with a guy named Farmer Troy, and he is an older gentleman. He's retired and he has rental properties. But he has 6 city blocks in the middle of the city.
Oh, wow.
And so, but he's in the county because he's like, it's old county. And so I met him through a mutual friend, and I was looking around his property and I'm like, what are you going to do with all this? When are you going to go to the farmer's market? And he's like, well, I don't want to. You're going to do it for me. And I was like, what? Because at that time I was, I had a kindergartner and I had a preschooler, and I didn't really have time. I didn't really have time for that. And so, but I did it anyways. I can't say no. I just work. And so we got involved in that, and we started going to the farmer's market every week. And then we started doing restaurant orders.
Wow.
And then farm to table orders, like with working with chefs. And through all of that, though, we were living in just a subdivision a little bit outside of town, but where you could like throw a rock at your neighbor's house kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it was always my dream to have my own land and my own animals, my own property. Because at the end of the day, my business partner, that wasn't my farm. It was his farm, and his kids would get it when he would, pass on. And I wanted to plant my own fruit trees to grow for myself and for my kids. And so we had been looking for a while for some property, but nothing really came up. And my husband was driving up here in this area where we're at. We're an hour north of where we had lived in the Permian Basin. And he said, you got to come look at this foreclosure. I think we should buy it. And I'm like, you're crazy. Because we already did a flip house. We did like a house that we gutted and flipped. Yeah. We did that. And then we bought brand new because we would never flip again. That
was pre-kids or with kids?
It was kind of both. It was like I was 6 months pregnant ripping out kitchen cabinets.
Yeah, we've been there.
You've been there? Yeah. So, I knew what it would be like. But so we came up and we looked at it, and I was just like, let's do it. And so we bought it for like nearly nothing, and we moved in, and
Awesome.
Gutted
and now
the whole
we have
thing
our
too?
own. Yep. They had gone on vacation. The people who had owned it, they had gone on vacation, and the pipes in the attic busted.
Oh man.
We had a fluke ice storm. I remember the storm because we were stuck in Denver. We were trying to fly into our area, and we couldn't fly. We were stuck in Denver for 5 days because of the ice storm.
Wow.
Oh,
and so during that time is when the pipes in this house busted.
Oof.
Oh boy.
And then they just walked away.
Yeah.
And it sat vacant for 18 months.
Wow.
And so we bought it, and it took us a good year to get it kind of
livable,
perfect inside. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And then at some point you made that Airbnb, right? I'm guessing that room didn't exist.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Well, it's kind of funny because our first night on this property, we stayed in this room.
Okay.
But it didn't have a bathroom at the time. Or it didn't have a shower, excuse me. It had a bathroom, but it didn't have a shower. And so we stayed in here the first night because there's air conditioning in here, but the air conditioning in the house wasn't working yet. And so we had to get that. So we all crammed in here and stayed in here. And then got kind of our living situation sort of figured out in the main house. And then moved into there. And then it was shortly after we I don't think we had finished the main house when we started this. It was kind of like good enough, you know? And then we were like, hey, we need to do this for people to come visit kind of thing. And then, oh, maybe we should Airbnb it out. My best friend has multiple Airbnbs, super financial savvy. And I'm like, hey, if she's doing it, I want to do it. And so we added on the bathroom or the shower and then listed on an Airbnb, and then it's been full.
Awesome.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing an Airbnb experience, like with the chickens or the farming or the permaculture, any of that stuff? I know that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It makes me laugh because I had a girl here visiting. She was here for 2 weeks, and she was totally into it.
Yeah.
She was loving it. Like, she loved the cats. We have farm cats that are like super friendly, and the garden was super flourishing. And she saw me one morning go out to let the chickens out with Esther, and she was like, can I come with you? And I'm like, sure, if you want to. Of course, the whole time I'm like, be careful where you step, be careful, you know, don't touch that. But no, she like loved it and ate it up. I don't know, because I know it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I know, like, yeah, I have people in my life that are like, you're crazy.
Yeah. Do you grow most of what you eat, or do you still take like weekly trips to the grocery store?
Oh, yeah, we still go to the grocery store a lot.
Okay.
I mean, like during the summer, I mean, right now, like we have turnips, kale, I still have tomatoes, green beans, lettuce. We have lots of stuff coming out, but we supplement a lot from the grocery store. We have an orchard that we've planted, and that is going to be awesome when it's fully in production. And I have raspberry bushes going in this year. It's going to be amazing when we don't need to buy raspberries. And I have strawberries that are doing really, really well right now. I mean, there's going to be a day when I don't have to go get strawberries, because let's face it, right now I just went to Costco and they're like $8.50 for a 2-pound pack. That's I'm not buying. Sorry, kids. We're not eating strawberries this week. You eat what's in season.
Yeah.
So there will be a time when we'll get there. But right now, I mean, they're so often like I'm cooking dinner and it's like I need thyme or I need celery. And then I just go out to the garden and get it. Or I'll like send one of the kids out there.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love how you've kind of designed and built this life. And yeah, it sounds like, a lot of work. And I'm guessing you don't watch a lot of TV, or are you guys a TV fam?
We love YouTube.
Okay.
Because you can learn things on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Survivor.
We did get into Survivor too. We don't watch a lot of TV, but we got hooked on that somehow. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's such a cool, like, just how intentional, I guess, you guys are building your lives, and, the journey you're bringing your kids on with you, and all the life skills that they're developing. And I don't know, it just seems just like such a wholesome, really, really enriching life that you guys are living, and that's so cool. And
right. There's no room for boredom there, because there's so many avenues that, you can occupy your time and your mind and your hands with. And I think that that's awesome. And a lot of times with modern day culture, we lose sight of that. And in a way, we've outsourced so much of our livelihood to supermarkets and you name it, that we find ourselves and our kids find themselves, kind of in a rut, like, oh, what do I do with myself and my time, And I think it's such a beautiful thing if you have these ongoing projects as a family that you're working toward and working on. It's just, you're constantly growing, working, and expanding your mind and enriching your life.
yeah. Yeah, no, I just mentioned the TV thing because, people always come to me like, how do you do all these things? And it's just like, so many people, 9 out of 10 people are just spending like 3 hours a day on the TV or 2 hours a day on their phone. And it's just like, well, I'm not spending those 5 hours doing those stuff. So I have 5 hours extra that everyone else doesn't have. Mm-hmm. And that's how I'm doing these things. And that's how you guys are, feeding chickens, fixing cars, making an Airbnb, and just creating this awesome lifestyle that you can be super proud of.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, a lot of it, multitasking, like listening to podcasts while you're working and while you're driving and audiobooks and stuff like that.
But things that add value to your life and make it better, give you new ideas and inspirations. And,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Lindsay, well, I want to thank you so much for coming on our show. If people want to reach out to you, they're inspired. Is there a way they can reach out to you?
Yeah, they can send me an email, lindsay.spi@gmail.com. Or they can find me on Facebook. I'm there more active in groups than I don't really post anything. I don't have time for that. But yeah, I love to talk homeschooling, kids, Roth IRAs, just enjoying your children. I just love to talk about that. And I feel like the world has so much to offer me. So yeah, reach out. I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for offering your time here and really sharing your story with our audience. I'm super inspired. I'm sure we all are.
What an awesome story. What an awesome life journey you're on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lindsay, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.